it's Ozzy. I thought I'd bring you a look at some of the ammunition that I carry and my wife carries, and some differences between it. First of all, let's take a look at what my wife usually carries. It's a 38 Special 90 grain critical defense. Very light load, easy for her to shoot out of her 642 Smith & Wesson because it's a light revolver, and she's a hairdresser. Her hands are constantly working, has been for like 37 years, so her hands are pretty tired, so racking the slide's not possible, and the recoil on a stealthier load is sometimes very difficult for her to manage. This is good ammunition for her. She can handle it, and hey, let's face it, it's pink, so it's a great thing for her. What I used to carry were these Federal HydroShocks 38 Special 110 grain. They're jacketed hollow points. Really nice load, but pretty stout, and I don't think it had the stopping power that I was really looking for. Especially if you got some clothing, you could clog up that hollow point. So what I did was, instead of just sticking with those, I jumped up just a little bit and went to the critical defense. Also 38 Special 110 grain. And it has the special plastic inserts, so it won't clog up, and it will do what it's designed to do. So that was a step up from the HydroShocks, I believed. Now both of these my wife can handle pretty well, but it does hurt her a little bit more than the critical defense light, and that's her round. That's her favorite round up until we found another one I'll show you in a second. Well, I jumped up to the 357 Magnums, 140 grain FDX from Hornady, and you can see it has the plastic tip also, so you don't have that cloggage issue. You get the full expansion, you get the full power of the 357 Magnum. I carry it in either the Chiappa Rhino 200DS 2-inch snub nose or the Smith & Wesson 640 Pro that I have, stainless steel, and both of those guns handle this big load with quite a bit of ease. It doesn't hurt at all. It's manageable. I can get it right back on target, especially with the Chiappa Rhino. The stainless steel of the 640 Pro really handles it well. It handles the shock and the recoil pretty well. I can get it back on target, but that Chiappa Rhino, it just eats these up like he was shooting this critical defense light 38 Special. So that is a definite bonus for me, and I like to carry these. However, I just started working with this the Interceptor, the ARX Interceptor and 357 Magnum. These are polyblend bullets. They're made with copper dust and some polymer or whatever it is. I don't really understand it. It's a very light load. This is only a 90 grain. I think it's 90 grain. Let's take a look here. 86 grain, and it's rated at 1650, but that's out of a much larger barrel. It only gets about 1200 out of a 2-inch, or 1250 out of the 2 and an 1/8 inch like my 640 Pro. But the thing is that this 357 Magnum is light enough for my wife to handle. Okay, because it's such a light bullet, the recoil and even the decibel level on when you fire it is much akin to a regular 38 Special, or even very close to this 90 grain critical defense light. So I can foresee in the future picking her up a 640 Pro or one of the 340 PDs, so she has the lightweight of her 642, but with the capability to carry this stouter load that will penetrate a lot further, deeper, do more damage in the front. And again, not with over penetration, because these puppies always seem to roll over in the gel tests you see. So I'm imagining in the body they're going to roll, and they're not going to over penetrate either, but they're sure going to get past that clothing, sure going to get past that, or do a lot better than that critical defense light and 38 Special. And what I've been also working with is these Lehigh Defense, the extreme penetrators in 140 grain. I haven't been able to pick up 357 Magnum in this yet. I just ordered it. It's come in, but it's at a different location because in my state you can't seem to get online orders of ammunition, and my dealers that are local to me, they don't handle this load here. So this is a 148 or 140 grain 38 special plus P, and man, does this puppy have a kick. Even in the Rhino, you can feel it a lot more than these 357s, not quite as much as these full load 357s, the Hornadies, but they're great ammo. I mean, you have this penetrating round here that's just amazing, that does not deform. It'll go through many, many layers of whatever's in your way, from sheet steel to plywood, 2x4s, car doors, glass, you name it. And that's why I have it, and I can't wait till I get my hands on the 357 version of these, because I really want the powerful load. And I keep them in a speed strip. Now, I don't load my firearm with these because I feel that these are going to over-penetrate. However, they are on my speed strip. I do have a couple of moon clips also for my 640 Pro, and also the Chiappa Rhino to handle these. The moon clips are great for the initial packing of the firearm. So I'm basically either carrying this 357 Magnum, either one of these 357 Magnums, the Hornadies and 140 grain, or the Interceptors as the primary load in the gun. Now, if I have an emergency and I've gone through all that ammunition and I need something a little bit more, I'm going for these penetrators here. And again, I can't wait to get my hands on the 357 Magnum version of these, so I can fill up a speed strip with those. And even though I have 5-shot Smith & Wesson, I have the 8 round strip that I carry now. I just got in the mail, I just got my 8 round carriers, and I will be replacing these for the extra rounds in the pocket. And not that I ever foresee needing them, but 8 rounds is better than 6. So if you're in a very desperate situation, you have to reload a couple times, you have it. So 5 in the chambers, and you got 8 in your pocket, you get 13. That's not a bad amount. I can't, again, foresee me being in a fight that would take more than that. In fact, I don't even think I'd use more than 5, but that's another story for another day. So this is another look at all these ammunitions and why I have them all and what I'm getting myself down to. Again, I have a stockpile of these Hydra-Shocks before I found these Hornady critical defenses, so I'm going to shoot through those eventually. I'm going to get my wife to shoot through all of these little things, the light ones, and work her up to the 357 Interceptors that just have the same amount of kick basically as a 38 special or this light load. And again, that's some of the ammunition I use in my EDCs. And I hope you enjoyed this and got a little information that might put your mindset in a different place. So thanks for tuning in. Just as a side note here also, the accuracy of this ammunition is quite nice. It's because it's a small size, it's only 86 grains. It's very light, and because it's made out of a poly instead of just metal or lead, it's very light. And the power behind this 357 Magnum, of course, is undisputed. So you have a very fast-moving, very linear tracking ammunition. It's great, again, because it has a low recoil, which brings down the lift on the muzzle, and it also helps with getting back on target quicker. So for accuracy, the linear path or trajectory of this ammunition, along with the low recoil, brings this ammunition into a very usable and very stable platform for up close and personal self-defense. And even if you have to take a distance shot, you're going to be a little bit more accurate with this kind of power than you would with a typical size bullet of 110 grains, 125, 140 as example. So again, accuracy is king. If you can hit your target, you're much better off than if you can't. So again, another perk for the Interceptor or the ARX. I like it in 357, but it comes in many different varieties for pistols and revolvers.